Welcome to the latest edition of the Growing with God podcast. My name is Austin Fox. On several of our recent episodes, we've talked about some pretty serious topics regarding some of the things that our PW high schoolers have been through in their lives. We just want to give a quick heads up to everyone listening that today is going to be perhaps the most serious or mature or even just dark topic that we've talked about. We're going to be discussing suicide and mental health and depression. And we have somebody here with us today who has shown an immense amount of bravery and courage, and they'll be sharing their story on what they've been through and how it drew them closer to God. Ellie Farmer is a senior at PW High School, and she is with us today this afternoon. Ellie, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You have quite a testimony to share, and like I said, you've shown an immense amount of bravery coming here today, but everything we're about to talk about is in an effort to help people who may be going through some of the things that you've been through. Could you just talk a little bit about your testimony and your story and some of the things that you've been through in your life and how they drew you closer to God?
Yeah, so everything kind of happened during COVID. It was just a really isolated time. And I couldn't really see anyone but the 4 other people in my household. And I also had social media, which is just a cesspool of sin. And so I would just sit in my room and just at home and be on social media all the time. And I just grew very withdrawn and sad. And this continued all the way through 8th grade and the beginning of 9th grade. And it was just really a hard time. And I would see all the girls on social media that looked better than me. And it was just I just had a really bad self-image. And I just thought I was worthless at the end of the day. And so I just didn't really know how to communicate this with people because it's just not something you want to admit that you're really struggling with. So I just kind of didn't tell anyone, and I just would ignore them or just be in my own head all the time. And so I just kind of started to quit things, I quit my sports and just all the activities, and even I would hang out with my friends less and my family less, and I just wanted to be left alone. And I started to self-harm, and I just didn't want to be around anymore. I just genuinely didn't want to exist. I thought I was worthless and just not loved, I guess. And so this continued until the beginning of 9th grade, like I said. And at that point, I had started writing some suicide notes because I planned to kill myself. And my parents ended up finding out that I wrote these notes through someone close to me. And I'm eternally grateful for them that they told my parents, because without that, I probably wouldn't be here. But my parents found out, and they pulled me out of class on Wednesday, November 18th, 2021. And since my dad's the school counselor, he pulled me out and brought me to his office, and he found the suicide notes on my phone. And yeah, in that moment, seeing your dad break down and cry, it's honestly, one of the lowest moments of my life. It was really difficult to, see somebody you love just go through that much pain because of you. And so he ended up taking me to the emergency room, and he spent the night in the hospital room with me, and I ended up getting sent to an overnight mental hospital for 6 days. And I just, my family found out, and while it was really, really sad, it was one of the most relieving moments of my life too, because people knew finally, and I could share how unhappy I'd been for 2 years. And it was just a really bad time in my life, but it was also a time where I could grow. And I just remember being in the hospital and just sitting on the floor, sobbing and staring at the ceiling and being like, God, why? why did you make me stay alive? Why did these people find out? And, I mean, I didn't really, get an immediate answer. It was still sad. But it just helped, telling people, or not really telling them, but them finding out and just telling me how much they loved me. And my family, they really showed how much they cared for me. And I ended up telling some of my closest friends. And they were like, obviously we love you, Ellie. Why did you want to do that? And looking back, it all seems kind of stupid that I wanted to do it in the first place, because I have such amazing people around me that love me and want me to be alive. And I just think it really helped me see God, and I just know that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. And even if every single person on this earth hated me, which they don't, but even if they did, I'd still be worth something.
Ellie, I can't even begin to explain how brave and courageous you are and how infinitely loved you are by Jesus Christ. You sharing this, I think, is going to impact a lot of people who may be struggling with similar things. And again, that just really shows how brave and courageous you are for being here today. You mentioned that you're fearfully and wonderfully made, and that is one of the most beautiful Bible verses that we'll ever hear, and it's so true. Jesus Christ loves everybody he makes infinitely. And once we realize that, it truly does change the way we view ourselves. Once you found that closeness with Jesus and with God, and you realize that you are a beloved daughter of Christ, how did that change your life?
I wasn't as unhappy anymore. I didn't put my worth in dumb things like who liked me or how I looked or what grade I got. I mean, I'm a daughter of God, and that's way more than anything else I could ever do.
For anybody who might be struggling with their self-worth or self-image of themselves and think very poorly of themselves, what would you say to somebody like that?
You're not alone. You're not alone. It's so cliche, but it's true. There are so many other people who feel the same way you do, and there are also so many people that love you. God loves you. Your friends, your family love you. There are people that want to help you.
Evil has such a manipulative way of twisting your mind to think that you're all alone in this and to think that you are worthless and that you are no good. And once you get past that and you realize that that's all a complete lie, it's such a beautiful thing when you see the light and you see the love that Jesus Christ has for you. How are you today? Are you doing good today?
Oh, yes, I'm way better today.
That makes me happy. That makes me happy seeing you smile and to just say that, because I haven't known you for super long, but over the past year and a half or so, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, but you're one of the most joyful and pleasant and positive people, and you're an inspiration for others with the way you show up to Bible study at PW every Thursday, and the way you want to go deeper in your faith, and the way that your friends act around you. It's obvious that Jesus Christ is using you to be a positive light for other people, and that's such an amazing thing. Do you kind of take on that ownership in some ways and making an effort to help people with stuff like this?
Yeah. I think just every day I get to wake up is a good day. A day that I didn't want, but I get. It's just a blessing from God, really, so.
You mentioned that when you were at some low points that you did not enjoy being alive anymore. Mm-hmm. Do you view your life as a gift now, and that every day is a gift?
Yes, absolutely. Every good thing I get to do, I just look back and I'm so glad I got to do that.
Did some blessings from God, even though it was a dark and troublesome time, were there blessings from God that came from that, even though they may have been hard to see at the time, but after the fact?
Yeah. Even my dad, he'll be he's a school counselor, so he sees a lot and hears a lot from kids. And he's from dealing with what you went through, I can better help a lot of kids that are in your position now. And that makes me feel good, because even if I'm not directly impacting them, I kind of am.
Our faith teaches that, and they released an official document on this a little under a year ago, they released an official document called Dignitas Infata. It's Latin, and it means infinite dignity, that every human person ever created has infinite dignity in the eyes of Jesus Christ. And it doesn't matter what we look like, how we act, how much money we have, we're infinitely loved. Ellie, to be a daughter of Jesus Christ and to be loved infinitely, what does that mean to you?
I think it is what it says. Like, I'm loved. I don't need to find my worth in what other people think of me because Jesus already thinks the world of me. And it also means, like, you're loved, everyone's loved, like, the way I treat people should reflect, like, that Jesus loves them as well.
We played this a few times for the PW high schoolers at our weekly CCD Monday classes called The Well, but there's a song by the Christian artist Sarah Kroger, and she has a song called Belovedness, and it has some of the most beautiful lyrics that I've ever heard. In the chorus, she says, in reference to Jesus' words talking to us, she says, "I smiled when I made you, I find you beautiful in every way. My love for you is fierce and unending. I'll come to find you whatever it takes." So whenever we are going through those dark times and struggles, Jesus Christ is always there calling out to us, and he'll never abandon us. Looking back, Ellie, during some of your darker times, did you see Jesus Christ reaching out to you and God pulling you back toward him?
I think what I noticed the most was the lack of Jesus in my life, because when I was at the hospital, I was there with a lot of other people who were struggling, and you could just tell that their life was void of Jesus, and it was just one of those, like, cold shower moments where it's like, oh, like, that's not good, like, this is how I'm gonna end up, like, if I don't change.
So it's safe to say that drawing closer to God and finding Jesus has had an immense impact on your life?
Yes.
That's beautiful to hear. Before we wrap up, Ellie, is there anything else that you want to say on this topic or to anybody out there who may be listening?
I feel like just reiterating, like, you're not alone if you're going through this. And also, like, if you notice somebody that seems to be struggling, like, reach out. Even if you think it's awkward, like, reach out, try to help them. Even, like, just being friendly to someone can really have an impact.
Ellie, I can't even begin to explain how brave and courageous you are for sharing your story and the people that you'll be helping by doing this. Jesus Christ calls us to be bold and to share our testimony, and you doing this, you're making a profound impact on a lot of people, and I'm so thankful that you are here today. Thank you once again for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share.
If any of you have a story to tell that you would like to share as well, feel free to reach out, and we can certainly set up a time and place to do so. If you are struggling with any of the things that we talked about today, please don't be afraid to reach out and ask for help. The devil wants you to keep these things quiet, but Jesus Christ is always there for you, and always remember that you are infinitely loved. Thank you all so much for listening today.